All right, folks, here we are. We're in another amazing day, another chance to talk to one of our favorite business owners from around here. His name is John Becci from Avanti Home Inspections. The gentleman is a hardworking individual. He's been connected in the community, been around for a long time, and I had the privilege of working, hand in hand with him. And we just want to welcome him today to the lab spotlight for today. So, John, welcome. We got my partners, Tyler, and our amazing friend Drew Swirsky in the house, and we just want to give you a chance to introduce yourself. So go right on.
Okay, thanks, Eric. I appreciate it. Hey, Tyler. Hey, Drew. Hope everybody's doing well today. So, as Eric said, my name is John Becci with Avanti Inspections, and I do home inspections and light commercial. I'm working into doing more commercial work as we go forward. Let's see. I'm a local boy. I grew up in a little town called Vienna, Virginia. Moved away for 9 years, came back, and know the area pretty well and like the area and try to help folks out, realtors and their buying or selling clients. We do pre-listing home inspections and home inspections. So, and then we do a nice little report, well, now with the COVID-19, we're not, we're only allowed to have 3 people in the house per the governors. So we try to, walk people through, but what we'll do is after the inspection, they'll get the report and we can do a Zoom call. Today I did a call, home inspection in Manassas. The realtor showed up towards the end and the clients were in Utah. So he did a Zoom call with them afterwards and we kind of went through different things and he had his camera and showed them different things we were talking about. Not too many problems with this house. There's always a couple little things, but showed them because they had put a contract on the house. The house was only on the day on the market for 1 day. And there was multiple offers and they were lucky enough to get it, but they put a contract on just doing a virtual office. They're still in Utah, haven't even seen the house yet. So that was kind of interesting. And I sent them the report when I got home. They opened it and I told them that, if they had any more questions, we can have another Zoom call later and go over
Goodness, John, it looks like you just went rapid fire on us and we hadn't even given us a chance to ask some questions, but it's okay. So listen,
sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. So good. So everything in the lab is about, just really going into the core, like the people that come and talk to us. And we just want to highlight you and your business and see how we can help you. But we also want to know a little bit about your history. Now, Avanti is a very unique name. I'm not in the conversations that I have with you, you mentioned that you have rich history in an Italian family. So tell us a little bit about how you went about finding the name Avanti and what it means to you personally and your business.
So Dad's parents came from Italy and my Italian grandfather was a stonemason. So guess what I did as a kid? But, I always have that Italian history and wanted to keep something Italian. So Avanti really means to progress, to move forward. It means the same thing in Spanish and in Portuguese, same thing, except you drop the I at the end and add an E. So it means to progress, to move forward. If you're given directions in Italian, it's nastina, sinistra, avanti, left, right, and forward, straight. But mainly it means to progress. And I want to progress myself and everybody I'm working for. So the realtors, the buyers, and everybody else, I want everybody to move forward with me and go forward there.
Outstanding. So what I'm hearing you say is that when people partner with you, it is in your best interest and you give the best of you to advance the business to whatever it is the client is looking to accomplish.
Correct.
That's awesome. I'm super excited to have you here. Let me ask you, as you see COVID is, basically taking over the world. We all understand that. And one of the things that, Tyler and Drew and I have had the privilege of seeing is how real business owners, like people that are really committed to succeeding and providing a great service to their clients, have pivoted everything that they do. So tell us a little bit about what you've done to continue to stay top of mind with your clients as we continue to deal with the COVID in our lives currently.
Well, the first thing I did, I have this pretty awesome business coach named Eric Quadros.
Oh, come on. I did not pay him to say that. So
no,
it's about you awesome, today.
But he was asking me what I was doing. And there's 2 two big associations for home inspectors, one being ASHI, which is a little bit older, and the newer one, about 5-6 years newer, but they're still pretty old, called InterNACHI. And they offer a lot of online courses, and they offered a COVID-19 course for safety for home inspectors and contractors. So I took that course and passed it. And, even before that, my youngest son is an ICU nurse. And so I was talking to him about it, and, we kind of switched things around where now, we use gloves. I mean, it's kind of hard because we have a tablet we're going through, and when you got the gloves on, it's a little harder, but, we don't like wearing them, but we have to. So we want to be safe, be respectful of people's homes and ourselves, our safety and the clients. So I took the COVID-19 course, which was actually a great course. It taught me a lot about the disease, how it happened, how it transpired, how it gets transferred between folks. And so we kind of implement a lot of those procedures. So now what we do, I used to do a little goodie bag called the blue bag because my color is blue, and it had, my logo on it, and had tape measures and hand sanitizer and things like that in it. But, we stopped giving that out, brochures, talking about the warranties that I offer, because we just don't want to transfer the disease anyway, because it can still be on clothes and paper and things like that. And it can be in the air from breathing from the air droplets. So we're very cognizant of that. We wear masks during the home inspection. And, right now we're trying to, we always encourage clients to walk around with us so they can learn. But, the governors are saying you're only allowed 3 people in a house. And I usually bring Jay, my son. So that's 2 of us. And, we tell people, if you want to be there, make sure you have masks and gloves, come in, and we can walk you around as we do the report. And then at the end of the home inspection, we can show them on the tablet what the report's going to look like. I take it home and tweak it and then send it to them. And so we can have a conference, or I say, some people can't be there, like today, they're out in Utah. So I said, we did a little Zoom call. The realtor had his phone and pointed out different things and some observations and everything that people look at, and sent them the report and said, you can do it a little later. So we're trying to keep distancing there, but we're trying to pivot, move out that way. So like everybody else, I'm switching to Zoom calls where I used to bring, meals. I'm famous for bringing Chick-fil-A, and you realtors love Chick-fil-A. And, talking to folks. Well, we can't do that anymore. So now you do things via Zoom. You reach out to them via Facebook, via LinkedIn, different social media formats. So, I text them and, email them and try to keep top of mind. And, and the other thing I did is, one thing I was talking about was creating a Facebook page for Avanti Inspections, which I did. And if anybody's hasn't liked me yet, it's Avanti Inspections at Facebook. I think I'm up to like 450 people. So that's not so bad for a month's work. And, reaching out there, I'm starting to post content up there. One of the things is, I want to do some helpful hints for people. So, I can't find, liquids, the soft soap, the liquid soap anymore. So I Googled on, did a Google search and found an easy recipe for soft soap, which I'm going to try first and then put up, except I couldn't find glycerin.
But what I'm hearing you say is that you're trying to start your own lab at home. I'm not sure. Like, I think you got to talk to the lab first so we can authorize you creating soap at home. Hey, so listen, I want to take you off the subject, but one of the good things that I've gotten to know about you is that you get an incredible amount of history, and you're like a serial entrepreneur, right? You started your business, and throughout your life, you've worked with a lot of incredible people, and you've done a lot of awesome things. So if you don't mind me getting off the subject, I want our audience to know a little bit about some of the businesses that you've had in the past before you got here, because you've had an incredible education and you work with some incredible people. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, let's say, like I said, I worked for both my grandfathers as a kid. They both came over from Europe, were very skilled laborers. And so did a lot of masonry work and foundation work and carpentry, and, been around a lot of projects, homes that were being built, residential and commercial. And then I guess when I got a little older, I got a paper route. And back when you had kids doing that, now they get the one guy that comes around in a truck and does, umpteen neighborhoods. But I went around on my bike and delivered papers. And then as I progressed, got a little older, I started cutting lawns for people. I've always liked being outside and doing stuff on houses. So I had a lawn service for a long time, and kind of progressed from there. My father was an artist. Both my parents were artists. I started a business selling his artwork. I mean, I'm always doing something. I've started numerous different businesses, tried different things because I like that entrepreneurial spirit. My whole family, my dad and mom's family, were both like that. So, my dad always did art in the basement. He worked for the government. My mom had a seamstress business and was a fashion designer.
You went to school, like you went. I remember you saying something about we went to school. What are your degrees on? I remember you saying something.
So
about
actually,
that.
so actually, my degrees are far from being a home inspector. My undergraduate degree, I'm a Virginia boy, so I went to in-state to James Madison University. Go Dukes! And we just had a really good. I think we had 4 or 5 guys drafted into the NFL, and their quarterback. Sadly for me, because I'm a lifelong Redskin fan, even though it's been hard for the last 20 years,
True.
he got drafted by the Cowboys.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's going to be kind of a mixed blessing because I want to root for him, but I don't know about what happens when they play the Redskins. But I went to James Madison University and got a double major in finance and accounting, and then I needed more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No wonder you became a home inspector.
yeah, have a little more fun, but they kicked me out of the accounting field because I was too extroverted, so I stuck with the finance for a long time. And then actually, I had a couple interesting jobs. My first job out of college, I worked for a guy named Ross Perot at EDS. And Ross and I didn't see eye to eye on stuff, but, I learned some things from him. What I learned is persistence is very good. And he also taught me, he said, hey, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm going to hire the smartest guys in the room to work for me. So that was one thing I picked up from him. And then after that, I ended up at this company called Net Express, which was run by one man named Lawrence Roberts, Larry, and another guy named Barry Wessler. And they had a buddy named Vincent Cerf. And the Vint, as we call them, is the father of the internet. So these guys all worked at DARPA together. If you ever Google founders of the internet, these 3, there's like 6 people that pop up, but you'll see Larry, Barry, and Vint on there.
Where's Al Gore in there?
No,
I know. I won't make you go there. I'm just teasing.
He just approved the funding, but they all worked at DARPA. I don't know why he got in his mind he started it, because these guys were just brilliant. I mean, they really were. They were like out there, and they all went to MIT together and knew each other. But they put this whole thing called the internet together, and then I worked for them when they were out of the government sector and into the private industry, and just an amazing place. I mean, these guys were just crazy. I mean, you work crazy hours, but they rewarded you well, and it was just interesting. And I still keep in touch with them, and we do projects together, because these guys are always having companies and doing this, and they started like telehealth and telemedicine. They started on that, and I got involved in that because I was in communications. So I did that. And then at some point I went back and got a master's degree, concentrations in finance and marketing, and used that. And I was mainly in telecom, internet, and cable TV, which is actually pretty exciting. The telecom got a little boring because it was old, but the cable TV was always hot and sexy. And so I did that for a long time. And then I, retired from there and started a promotional products business. So I can get you hats and shirts and pens and all that stuff. And then one of my buddies.
I think we're going to be getting lab shirts soon. We'll be talking to you about that.
But then one of my buddies in Florida, I actually dated his wife for a little while, but after about 3 dates, we figured if we were in a romantic relationship, we would probably literally kill each other. So we decided to be friends, and we've been friends for like 25 years. But when she met her current husband, I went out to their wedding. I guess it was about 17 years ago in Phoenix. And then he called me up a couple of years ago and said, hey, we got this home inspection business. I think you'd be good at it. You're good with people and you know how to do this stuff. And, would you like to bring it up to Northern Virginia area, the DMV? So I did. So I went down to Florida and trained and with them and did that, and then brought it up here and proceeded to get my licenses. I don't know how many licenses I have, about 14. I've I'm a home inspector, licensed home inspector in DC, Virginia, and Maryland. Plus I can do radon in all three, mold swabs and air quality testing, and termite WDO or WDI, whatever you want. And since I've had a little lull because of the COVID, I'm working on West Virginia now.
Let me, if I can, you dropped a lot on us right there.
No,
Okay?
right?
Now, with that being said, though, is I know there are a lot of people, and we get different people on the labs, and we talk to different people who sometimes expectations aren't what they appear to be. You having done so many different things, what would you say to somebody who's like, well, I started this, I'm trying this, and now COVID came up, and I don't know what to do with my life now. Is my life the same? Do I need to change industries? Do I need to buckle down? What advice would you have for them?
You know, it was interesting. So, you know, right now my two businesses, my main business is the home inspections, but I also have the promotional product company that goes kind of hand in hand with that because, you know, what do you realtors love?
Shiny objects.
And your name on it, right?
Shiny objects and your name on it. Yes, that's
Yeah.
yep.
So that business, you know, kind of took a back seat, and I kind of saw that coming because, business is out there, but it's not like it was. I mean, everything, the world kind of stopped about a month and a half ago. I mean, literally. Fortunately for, you all, the realtors and folks in the real estate industry, and I'm part of that as a home inspector, we're considered. So, I mean, that was pretty easy. So, I mean, I just kind of focused more.
You got to say that again.
So,
say essential again.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely, we're essential. I mean, it's kind of hard to think about it. But I mean, if you think about it, with my finance and accounting background, real estate is one of the big drivers of the economy because, people buy a house, and, that there's, different things that, you've got the inspection, you've got the appraisal, you got the mortgage lenders, you've got the realtors, and then, they all need to eat and they need to have housing. So that kind of drives the economy. Well, plus when people buy a new house, even when they're moving from a house, maybe they're upsizing, maybe they're downsizing, but, they still need new furniture. They need to get, window treatments, trash cans, all that stuff. And, depending on where they're moving. So it's a big driver of the economy. So if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense that we'd be considered essential. Now, with the COVID, we have to take new precautions because, we don't want to get the virus. And so that, but you kind of got to look. I mean, I was fortunate to be an essential employee, but, there's a lot of people working from home. But, I was telling Jay, my son, this morning, he goes with me on home inspections. We're passing a bunch of strip malls out in Manassas, and there's a lot of stores that are closed. There was one restaurant, one of the Bar Louie. There's a lot of those around. We passed one of them where they literally boarded up the windows. And so I'm kind of wondering, when we get back to the new normal, is going to be a new normal. It's not going to be the normal we had 2 months ago. If it does get back to that, it's going to be a while, but there's going to be some things that we're doing now that are going to carry over into the future, and some things that we're doing in the past are, going to be changed.
And well, I thought that was interesting because we were talking before this, and there were two things as I've looked at you and looked at your business that I've really found fantastic. One of them being is that you didn't just shut down. We talked about significant others, and I know that there are spouses and significant others of people that are like, hey, you're going to hunker down, or are we just going to wait this out? And you had a perspective where you really needed to take care of your clients and your customers. And we're really dedicated to that and said, no, I can't shut down. People need me. So can you talk a little bit about your commitment to your customers and clients?
Well, I was raised, with European values, if you will, with my, my parents were both first generation, mom from German background, dad from an Italian. And it was always about customer service. I mean, what can you do to help people? And that's one of the things I love about Keller Williams the most is you guys have that same vision and goal. I mean, Gary put that out. So, I mean, do I want to catch the virus? No. Do I want to give it to anybody? No. Do I want to be safe? Yes. But I want to still do my job and take care of people because, a little known fact is, You know what you had to do? And so if I applied to be a home inspector in Virginia in June, or let's back it up a little bit, April of 2017, you know what I had to do?
What's that?
Fill out the paperwork, send in the check, and voila, you're a home inspector, period. So, and then what happened is the realtors got all mad because, Maryland, DC doesn't have that many requirements, but Maryland has a lot. And people were getting home inspections that were all over the map because there was really no standards for the state. So Virginia, under pressure from realtors and the associations, put a bunch of new standards in place, which I've, taken all those, passed successfully, and got my license. So, I want to do a good job for folks, and people tell me I do a really thorough job. I look at a lot of things that other folks don't look at. And, I just care about my clients and want them to have the best. And that's what I do. And then plus I offer warranties with my home inspections that are a little different that other people don't do.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, I know Eric and Drew probably got more questions, so I got to leave you with this one. But we were talking about some of the things that you like to do, and you mentioned your love for travel. And we try to make sure everybody's a well-rounded person. I don't think you can long-term do anything unless you've got a well-rounded life. So obviously you can't travel right now, but I would love to hear about some of the beautiful places that you've traveled, and just real quickly what your joy and what you love about travel.
We haven't even gotten into the lightning round yet. I know that Drew is standing by with rapid fire questions for you. So let me say we love this part because we love to highlight your business, but we would like to get to know you as a person. So he's got some questions that I prepared that
I had a question. I was trying to get you guys' attention. So I noticed that you said Ross told you to hire. You don't have to be the smartest person to hire the smartest person. And I know Eric did that by bringing me in. Who's this?
Perception is reality.
Yeah. Who's the smartest person that you've ever hired? And
my wife. For you? My wife.
Smartest person I ever hired. So when I was actually I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina, I was working for a Swedish company that was owned by a Norwegian company. And that was interesting. So I had three bosses. I had the CEO was in North America with me. His office is next door, but I also reported to a CEO in Sweden and one in Norway. And I needed to hire an analyst for me. And I ended up hiring a fellow JMU grad. He was a little bit younger than me to come in. And Bobby, I loved. He didn't have the personal skills, the people skills that I do, but he was one of these guys where I would, kind of sketch out a project, give him a little bit of a roadmap and say, here's where you start. Here's kind of where I want you to finish. And I would literally just put him in a room for about a week and, let him out for lunch and don't let him talk to people. And he would come back to me with like 10 times more than ever wanted. I mean,
wow,
just a bright guy. And then as it turns out, we still keep in touch. He's down in Raleigh, North Carolina, and his dad was a PhD in biology and worked for the state in the wildlife program and taught at William and Mary. So we called him Dr. Bob. Bobby went back and got a PhD in economics. So there's Dr. Bob and Dr. Bobby, but he was just super. I mean, then I would ask for him and I'd literally just give him minimal directions and he would come up with things I didn't even consider.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, he sounds super smart. So one last question is I always want to ask, what advice do you have for other small business owners? It sounds like you've had a couple. And what advice do you have for other small business owners?
Well, one thing I've learned from a lot of people over the years is it's not about getting a job or make a bunch of money. It's doing something you enjoy. Because, at the end of the day, you kind of got to look in the mirror, like who you see, you got to go to bed and you got to be able to sleep. If you do something you enjoy, I think the money comes at some point, but you're doing something that your heart is in and it's not superficial. It's not like you're putting on an act. I mean, I know, people I've coached before and stuff I've mentored through JMU and everything that, yeah, man, I want to go to Wall Street and I want to, be a stockbroker and be a trader and make all this money. Well, the reality, I mean, it's a tough job. And if your heart isn't in it, like real estate, if your heart isn't in it, it just doesn't matter. Same thing with home inspection. I think part of my enthusiasm comes through, you know, to the clients and to the realtors, and that I want to take care of people. I mean, you know, and people tell me, he said, well, wow, you talk more than most home inspectors. They just want to get their job and get out. But, you know, I want to educate people if I can. And now it's a little hard because you can't have everybody in the home. But I think it's just, you know, take a look at what you really like, what makes you tick. And, you know, you may change it at some point. I mean, I've changed careers a number of times so far, and I'm not done yet. And, you know, I may end up opening up another business or two at some point. But, you know, don't limit yourself either. I mean, that's the one thing, people limit themselves a lot. It's kind of up here, a lot of it.
Excellent.
You got any rapid fire questions?
If you guys are ready, I always have rapid fire questions.
Go.
Okay, so let's start off. This goes way out of business. We're done in that realm. Okay. What's the last show you binge watch?
Oh man, I've been binge watching what is it? The Last Empire with Orlando Bloom.
Good one. What's the last book you read?
The last book, what was the one? The One Thing by Gary Keller.
There you go.
Great answer.
Right. What's the biggest sport you missed during the COVID-19?
Soccer.
Great answer as well.
And you said you're a Redskins fan, right?
Yeah, it's been hard.
Not a great answer.
It's a great answer. Grade the Redskins draft picks. Overall.
I mean, they got the number 2 pick, and the guy from Ohio State is a beast.
Yeah,
I don't know if, you know, I didn't watch it that much, but I think they did pretty high. I mean, I'd have to give them an A or a B. I mean, you know, if Dan Snyder moves out of the way, unless the football people do what they're supposed to do, I mean, I think they have a much better chance of doing it. Yeah, plus we got a new coach too. So
that's right.
Ron Rivera. My Panthers are my second favorite team.
Oh, there you go. Best of both worlds.
Well, I think it's funny. They fired him after they lost to us, and then we hired him.
That's true. Well, that's it for our rapid fire questions. Eric, you got anything?
No, actually, John, listen, we on behalf of the lab, Tyler and Drew, we want to thank you for being here today. And before we go, we just want to, if people want to find you, what's your phone number and the website where they can find you so they can do business with you?
Okay, well, the website's still a work in progress, but it's Avanti Inspections.com. And the best number is the office number, which is 571-748-9591. That gets you to my office. And if they're not there, the phone transfers to myself.
All right, folks, you heard it here first at the lab. We had the privilege and honor to have John Becci here today. And we want to invite you all to come and dial in with us once a day with some of the best business owners in the world. That's what we look to do, to highlight great people with great businesses so we can learn from one another. I invite you all to continue to join us, join the lab soon, and have an amazing day. That's it for today.
Okay, thanks all. I appreciate you having me and your time.
You got it, John. It was our pleasure.